There's a moment in every collector's life when a simple coin, something you've held 1,000 times before, suddenly transforms into a ticket to a different life. Imagine reaching into an old jar, pulling out a worn quarter, K, and realizing it's worth more than a mansion overlooking the Pacific. Sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly what's been happening with one of the most astonishing coins in American history. The 1968 no mint mark $quarter dot, this unassuming piece of metal, once used to buy a cup of coffee or a gallon of gas, has stunned experts, collectors, and everyday people alike. Recently, one of these quarters fetched over $866,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right, $866,000 for 25 cents. And if you've got an old box of coins lying around, one of them could be the key to your own life-changing discovery. But how did this ordinary coin become so extraordinary? To answer that, we have to step back in time to an America bursting with change 1968. The Vietnam War was raging. Martin Luther King Jr. had been assassinated, and a nation was searching for its soul. Amid all the turmoil, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia and Denver kept producing millions of quarters as usual. But something unusual happened that year. A small error, so tiny most people missed it, slipped into circulation. And that mistake would one day make history. You see, most quarters carry a mint marka, small letter, indicating where they were made. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mark at all if it came from Philadelphia. But in 1968, for the first time, Proof Coins special high-quality coins made for collectors were supposed to be minted in San Francisco, each bearing the S mark. Yet, a few proof coins were struck without it. No mint mark. These coins shouldn't exist, but they do. And they've become some of the rarest modern coins ever found. Picture this. You're at a yard sale, buying an old coin collection for a few dollars, not knowing that hidden among the common ones is a 1968 no mint mark quarter worth nearly $1 million. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But it's happened before. And it could happen again. What makes this particular coin so valuable isn't just the missing mint mark. It's the story behind it. Every collector knows that rarity drives value. The fewer there are, the higher the price climbs. Experts estimate that only a handful of these 1968 no mint mark quarters exist, each verified and authenticated by the professional coin grading service. And each time one surfaces, it sends shockwaves through the numismatic world. But here's where things get interesting. Even though this coin looks like a regular quarter, its value doesn't just rest on scarcity, it's also about condition. Most quarters from the 1960s are worn, scratched, or tarnished. But if yours has sharp edges, a mirror-like finish, and minimal wear, you could be sitting on a fortune. The most recent sale of $866,000 was for a near-perfect specimen. One so flawless, it looked untouched by time. Now, you might be thinking, all right, but what are the chances I actually have one of these? Well, here's the twist. More people have stumbled upon valuable coins by accident than by design. Maybe you inherited your grandfather's collection. Maybe there's a jar of change sitting in your closet. Or maybe you've been ignoring that dusty coin album in the attic. What if that quarter you thought was worthless is the one everyone's looking for? And before you shrug it off, let's be real. How many times have we all said, "If only I'd known"? The truth is, opportunity doesn't knock at jingles. It hides in drawers, pockets, and coffee cans, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. This story isn't just about coins. It's about awareness, about seizing the small moments that can change your life forever. Of course, not every 1968 quarter will make you rich. But here's where the excitement really builds. There are telltale signs to look for, the subtle clues that separate an ordinary coin from a rare treasure. First, examine the mint mark area. If it's missing entirely and the coin appears to be proof quality, you've got something special. Next, look at the surface. Proof coins have a deep mirror shine with frosted design details. If your coin has that distinct contrast, your heart might start racing down now. Before you grab a magnifying glass, let's clear one thing up. There are counterfeit coins out there. The moment a coin like this hits the news, forgers rush in. That's why authentication is everything. Reputable grading companies like PCGs or NGC can confirm if your coin is genuine. And if it is, congratulations, you've joined a very exclusive club. Still, you might wonder, why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for a coin? That's the magic of collecting. For some, it's nostalgia. For others, it's investment. But for the most passionate collectors, it's about owning a piece of history that shouldn't exist. It's like finding a first edition novel with a printing error. Except this error is made of silver and could fund your retirement. The coin market today is hotter than ever. With economic uncertainty and people searching for tangible assets, rare coins have become a safe haven for wealth. While stocks rise and fall, a one-of-a-kind coin keeps its charm and often gains value over time. That's why collectors and investors alike are scouring estate sales, auctions, and online marketplaces, hunting for hidden gems like the 1968 no mint mark quarter. Now, let's pause for a second. Imagine waking up tomorrow, checking your coin, and realizing it's one of these elusive treasures. What would you do? Sell it immediately. Keep it as a legacy. Or maybe use it to buy that dream home or take that world tour you've always wanted. It's a thrilling thought, isn't it? But it's also a reminder. Fortune favors the prepared eye. There's a certain thrill in knowing that. Life-changing opportunities often come disguised as ordinary moments. The 1968 no mint mark quarter is proof of that, literally and figuratively. It whispers to anyone willing to listen. Look closer. Don't underestimate the small things. But let's talk about timing. Because in collecting, timing is everything. The current market for rare U.S. coins has seen record-breaking highs. Just last year, multiple six-figure coins shattered previous auction records. Collectors from across the world are willing to pay extraordinary sums for coins that tell a story, especially one born from error and mystery. And experts predict that as awareness grows, so will demand. So, if you've got a 1968 quarter sitting around, this isn't the time to hesitate. This is the time to act. Get it appraised, get it graded, and find out what you truly have. Because once the spotlight hits this coin again, it will. The window of opportunity could close just as quickly as it opened. Think of it like this. In 1968, a quarter could buy a gallon of gas. Today, that same quarter could buy an entire gas station. If that doesn't make you want to check your pockets, nothing will. And while that may sound humorous, it's also a sobering reminder that knowledge can turn the simplest things into wealth. But what if I told you the 1968 no-mint mark quarter isn't alone? There are other coins just as rare, just as valuable hiding in plain sight. The 1970s quarter with the micro error, the 1999 Georgia quarter with a mule reverse, the 1943 copper penny. Each of these coins has its own story of rarity, error, and astronomical value. And each story carries the same lesson: extraordinary. Wealth hides in the ordinary. So here's the challenge. The next time you handle loose change, pause. Look closely. Feel the weight of it. Because somewhere out there, someone will find another 1968 no-mint mark quarter. Someone will go from pocket change to prosperity. The only question is, will it be you? The world of coin collecting isn't just about money. It's about legacy. These coins connect generations. They hold the fingerprints of history of the people who spent them, saved them, and now those who seek them. Owning a coin like this is like owning a time capsule. One that bridges the past with the promise of an incredible future. And here's the secret: most collectors won't tell you every great discovery starts with curiosity. The ones who strike gold, metaphorically and literally, are those who dare to ask, what if? What if this coin is different? What if this one's special? That simple question can lead to life-changing answers as you think about your own collection. Or the one you might start to remember that each coin is a story waiting to be uncovered. The 1968 no-mint mark quarter just happens to be one of the most thrilling stories of all. From a minting mistake to a multi-million-dollar marvel, it's a testament to how small details can have monumental consequences. So don't let your story end with "I could have checked." Because while some see coins as just currency, others see them as keys to wealth, to history, to a future that's brighter than you ever imagined. As we close, remember this: somewhere in America, a dusty old quarter is waiting to change someone's life. Maybe it's in your home, maybe it's in your wallet, or maybe it's still out there, passing from hand to hand, quietly holding its secret. The next time you feel the cool weight of a coin in your palm, ask yourself, could this be the one? Because the people who take that question seriously, they're the ones who wake up one morning, look at an ordinary coin, and realize they're holding a fortune. So go ahead, check your change. Your wealthy lifestyle might just be hiding in plain sight, one quarter at a time. Imagine reaching into your old change jar and pulling out a coin that could change your entire life. Not a gold bar, not a diamond, just a humble 1983 quarter. What if I told you that a single 1983p mint mark $quarter recently sold for over $861,000? That's right, a simple piece of change worth nearly $1 million. How many times have you held something like that and let it slip away without realizing its true value? This story isn't about luck. It's about awareness. It's about hidden wealth lying in plain sight, the kind most people never notice. And today, we're going to uncover why one particular 1983 quarter has captured the attention of collectors, how it reached such staggering value, and how you can find out if one of these treasures might already be in your possession. But before we dive in, let's start with a thought. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your coins? I mean, really looked, not just tossed them in a drawer or used them for coffee change. Most people haven't. And that's why stories like this still shock the world. The year was 1983. Ronald Reagan was president. MTV was in its prime. The economy was rebounding. A coup and the U.S. Mint was busy striking millions of coins in Philadelphia. Coins just like the one we're talking about. But something extraordinary happened during that year's minting process. Somewhere along the line, a few quarters came out with unusual characteristics. Slight errors. Subtle differences invisible to the casual eye. And one of those coins would one day become the stuff of legend. Now, before you start rummaging through your drawers, let's talk about what makes this quarter so special. You see, 1983 quarters are unique because they were struck during a year when the mint did not issue uncirculated mint sets. That means collectors didn't get pristine examples directly from the mint. Every 1983 quarter you see today came from circulation. Most have scratches, wear, and grime from decades of use. But a few escaped that fate, preserved by chance, untouched, flawless, and shining just as they did the day they left the minting press. Here's where the story takes a twist. Among these rare survivors, one coin, a 1983 quarter with the P Mint mark from Philadelphia, emerged as an absolute marvel. Its strike quality was perfect, its surfaces flawless, and its details sharp enough to make even veteran collectors pause in awe. When it hit the auction block, the bidding war erupted instantly. What started as curiosity turned into chaos. And when the final hammer dropped, the number shocked everyone. $861,000 for a single $quarter coin. Now, pause for a second. Let that sink in. $861,000. That's more than the average cost of a home in America today. For a 25-cent coin, you might be asking yourself, how could that possibly happen? How does something so ordinary become so extraordinary? The answer lies in a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and collector demand. You see, coin collectors, or numismatists, value coins based on their minting errors, metal content, and preservation. The 1983p quarter combines all three in an irresistible way. Because no mint sets were made that year, perfect condition examples are nearly impossible to find. Combine that with the Philadelphia Mint's production quirks and a few double-die errors. And you have the makings of a true modern legend. But let's be real for a second. You might be thinking, okay, that's great for the lucky person who found it, but what about me? Well, here's where things get exciting. You could very well own one of these without knowing it. That's right. There are still a handful of these 1983 quarters out there in circulation or tucked away in private collections. Every time someone sorts through old coins, there's a small chance they might stumble upon one worth more than a luxury car. Before you rush to your coin jar, there are a few things to look for. First, check for the mint mark P right next to Washington's ponytail on the obverse. That's the mark of the Philadelphia Mint. Next, look for sharpness in detail, clean edges, strong lettering, no signs of heavy wear. Under good lighting, inspect for doubling in the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." These double-die variations are key indicators of value. And finally, if the coin appears unusually thick, light, or struck slightly off-center, it could be an era coin, and those fetch even higher prices. Let's inject a little humor here. Imagine explaining to your spouse that the quarter you almost used for a parking meter, K, is now funding your dream vacation to Hawaii. That's the kind of story we're dealing with here. But let's dig deeper. Why 1983 specifically? Why not 1982 or 1984? The answer traces back to a decision by the U.S. Mint. In 1982 and 1983, due to budget constraints and economic concerns, the Mint stopped producing uncirculated sets for collectors. That means high-quality versions of those years' coins became exceptionally scarce. And scarcity, my friend, is the foundation of value. Combine that scarcity with the mysterious minting anomalies of 1983, and you get a coin that's not just rare, it's practically mythical. Now, here's the emotional part. Every day, people unknowingly handle coins that could change their lives. They spend them, lose them, or toss them aside without realizing what they're worth. Imagine finding out years later that you had a small fortune in your hands and didn't know it. That's the fear of missed opportunity, and it's very real. But on the flip side, imagine the excitement, the rush, of discovering that your loose change isn't just change, it's a treasure. That's the thrill collector's chase. And it's a thrill you can experience too. So, what's the current market telling us about the 1983p quarter? Demand is surging. Coin collectors are on the hunt, paying record prices for pristine examples. Lower-grade coins can fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars, while top-graded, mint-condition specimens continue to rise. The coin market, much like real estate or art, follows waves of enthusiasm, and right now, we're seeing a major wave for early 1980s U.S. coinage. This isn't just nostalgia, it's investment potential. Let's be honest, most of us dream about finding hidden wealth. But too often, we overlook the simple things right in front of us. This quarter is proof that opportunity doesn't always come wrapped in luxury or gold. Sometimes it jingles in your pocket. Now, let's connect the dots to your own life. If you've got old coins stored away, maybe in a shoebox, maybe in an old coffee can. You could be sitting on untapped wealth. And this isn't just about one coin. The 1983 P quarter is a symbol. It's a reminder that history has value and that your attention can literally turn pennies into fortunes. The next time you handle change, don't just see coins, see possibilities. Here's another moment to pause and reset. Let's imagine something funny. You walk into a coin shop with a few old quarters, expecting maybe a few bucks, and the expert's jaw drops. He leans in, polishes his glasses, and says, "Do you have any idea what this is worth?" That's not fantasy. It's happened. And it could happen again. If you're wondering how to sell such a coin, the key is authentication. Professional grading services like PCGs or NGCs specialize in evaluating and certifying coins. Their seal of authenticity is the golden ticket to top-tier buyers. Once authenticated, your coin could go to auction heritage auctions, Stacks, Bowers, or even private collectors ready to pay a premium. And trust me, when rarity meets validation, the bids climb fast. Here's a truth most people miss. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby anymore. It's a market, a serious one. High net worth individuals, investors, and collectors see rare coins as tangible assets, a hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty. Think of it this way. While the dollar's value fluctuates, the story behind a rare coin only grows richer over time. Let's add a bit of urgency here, because the window to act is closing. As more collectors learn about the 1983 quarter's potential, fewer ungraded coins remain in the wild. Once they're found, authenticated, and locked in private collections, opportunities like this vanish. You don't want to be the person saying, "I used to have one of those." So, here's your call to action. Take out your coins. Inspect your quarters. Especially from 1982 and 1983, look for the Philadelphia Mint mark. Pay attention to details, to condition, to small differences. And if something looks unusual, don't dismiss it. Get it checked. Because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary could be just one careful glance. Let's wrap this story with a vision. Imagine you discover a coin like this and you sell it for hundreds of thousands. What would you do? Pay off your mortgage? Start a business? Travel the world? Help your family? This isn't just about money. It's about transformation. A small discovery that can rewrite your financial story and open doors you never thought possible. And yet, beyond all the excitement and numbers, there's something deeper here, a sense of wonder. The idea that hidden within the mundane lies the miraculous. That a 25-cent coin could carry the power to change lives. That's not just a collector's dream. It's a testament to the value of awareness, patience, and curiosity. So, as you go about your day, remember this: fortune doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers from the most ordinary places. And if you're wise enough to listen, that whisper could turn into a roar of opportunity now. The real question is, will you check your change today? Or will you let another small miracle slip through your fingers? It all begins in the heart of the 1980s. A decade of neon dreams, booming markets, and technological leaps. Amidst all that, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was producing hundreds of millions of quarters. Most were ordinary, mass-produced, everyday coins meant for vending machines and grocery stores. Yet, among them, a few rare anomalies were born coins that defied their purpose. These were minting errors, struck with precision mishaps so unique that collectors today pay astronomical prices for them. Now, before you run to your coin collection, take a moment to ask yourself, how many times have you looked at a coin and really seen it? We handle money every day, yet we rarely pay attention to the tiny details stamped into history. The mint mark, the year, the texture of the rim, these are clues to hidden fortunes. And that's exactly where the 1986 P-quarter story begins. The Philadelphia Mint had produced over 550 million quarters that year, but a handful came out slightly off, some with double strikes, others with off-center images, and a few with metal composition errors. These rare variations are what make certain coins from that year worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands. And in one extraordinary case, a pristine, nearly perfect 1986 P-quarter, graded by professional coin evaluators as mint state, sold for an astonishing $855,000 at auction. Why? Because perfection and rarity in the same breath create magic in the coin world. Here's where it gets fascinating. The value of a coin isn't just about age, it's about scarcity, condition, and story. And the 1986 P-quarter has all three. Imagine holding a piece of history that not only survived decades but emerged as one of the most flawless examples of minting precision from its era. That's not just a coin, that's a time capsule. A conversation between the past and present, whispering secrets of craftsmanship and chance. But let's be real. Most people won't find an $855,000 coin lying in their glove box. So why should you care? Because hidden treasures like this are still out there. And the people who find them aren't experts or millionaires. They're everyday Americans who took the time to look closer. The coin you dismiss today could fund your dream tomorrow. That's not just a metaphor. It's a fact proven time and time again in the coin. CollectorsWorld.now. Here's a question to jolt your curiosity. When was the last time you checked your change? Go ahead, think about it. The average American household has about $68 in loose change lying around. Somewhere in that mix, there could be coins worth more than your car. Doesn't that make you want to start digging through the couch cushions? Let's take a moment to understand what makes a coin like the 1986 P-quarter so valuable. Collectors look for four main factors: rarity, demand, condition, and historical significance. The 1986 P hits all four. Its rarity comes from minting errors and limited pristine specimens. Its demand stems from the increasing fascination with 20th century U.S. coinage. Its condition, when graded MS67 or higher, makes it a visual masterpiece. And its historical significance ties back to an era when the mint was transitioning in technology, creating a perfect storm for rare variations. But there's another layer motion. People don't just collect coins for profit. They collect them for connection. Each coin carries a story of where it's been, what it's seen, and the hands it has passed through. That emotional pull adds value beyond metal or market price. And when nostalgia meets scarcity, prices soar. Still, many people hesitate. Why would anyone pay that much for a quarter? They ask. But think of art collectors paying millions for a canvas with paint. Think of classic car enthusiasts spending fortunes on restored vehicles. It's the same principle. The difference? You might already own the art, hiding in plain sight in your old coin box. Now, let's address a little fear. What if you already had a valuable coin and you spent it years ago without knowing? That pang you just felt. That's the realization millions have experienced when they learn how much old coins can be worth. But here's the good news, it's not too late. New discoveries happen every year. People walk into coin shops or post photos online and suddenly realize they've been holding something extraordinary for decades. The market for rare U.S. coins is hotter than ever. With record-breaking auctions and private buyers competing to own a piece of numismatic history, and here's something to keep in mind. The 1986 p. quarter's rise to fame didn't happen overnight. For years, collectors overlooked it, considering it too new to be significant. But as grading technology improved and the coin's pristine examples became harder to find, its value skyrocketed. That means the next hidden gem could be sitting unnoticed right now. Maybe it's in your possession. Maybe it's the coin you received as change this morning. Ever think about how strange it is that a small piece of metal can hold so much power? A single coin can open doors to financial freedom, fund college tuition, or serve as a legacy piece for your family. One discovery could change not just your finances, but your mindset about value, luck, and attention to detail. So, how do you find out if your coins are valuable? Start by gathering every quarter you can find, especially those from the 1970s through the 1990s. Examine them under good light. Look for the mint mark P near Washington's ponytail, and inspect for unusual features, south center strikes, doubled lettering, or unusually sharp details. Then, research recent auction results or get your coin appraised by a certified professional. Don't rely on guesswork. Rely on verification. Some of the biggest finds came from people who took that small extra step. Here's a fun thought. Imagine you're sifting through your change one night and something catches your eye, glint, a texture, a difference. You look closer, realize it's a 1986 p quarter, and notice its condition seems exceptional. You send it for grading, and weeks later, you get the call. Congratulations! You're sitting on a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your heart races, your hands shake, and for a moment, everything feels surreal. That's the kind of excitement that drives collectors and dreamers alike. You might be wondering, why are coins like this suddenly exploding in value? Simple economics. As time passes, fewer high-grade examples exist and demand increases. Combine that with a surge of online platforms where collectors compete for ownership, and you have a perfect storm of rising prices. It's supply and demand wrapped in nostalgia and fueled by the thrill of discovery. And speaking of discovery, here's the twist that keeps collectors awake at night. There are still undocumented variants out there. Some coins were minted with microscopic differences yet to be cataloged. You could be the first to uncover one. Imagine being credited for discovering a new variety, forever linking your name to numismatic history. That's not just valuable, that's legacy. But let's not sugarcoat it. Coin collecting also requires patience and discernment. Not every old coin is worth a fortune. That's where education becomes your greatest asset. The more you learn, the better your chances of identifying value when others overlook it. Knowledge turns chance into opportunity. And speaking of opportunity, let's talk about timing. Right now, the market for rare coins is booming. Inflation, uncertainty, and the search for tangible assets have pushed more investors toward collectibles. The 1986 P quarters record price is proof of a broader trend. If you've ever thought about selling your coins, this might be your moment. The window of opportunity doesn't stay open forever. Picture this. You walk into a coin appraisal event, skeptical but curious. You show the expert your 1986 P quarter. They examine it, nod slowly, and smile. You might want to sit down, they say. That's not just a fantasy. It's a possibility. And possibilities are what make stories like this worth telling. As you reflect on this, remember that the true value of the 1986 P mint mark quarter isn't just in its price tag. It's in the inspiration it gives us. It reminds us to look closer at what we take for granted, to search for opportunity in the ordinary, to believe that even the smallest, most overlooked things can hold unimaginable worth. So, before you spend that next quarter, pause. Look at it. Study the year, the mark, the detail, because who knows? You might be holding your ticket to financial freedom. And even if you don't find the $855,000 coin, you'll have gained something even more valuable. Mindset tuned to recognize hidden potential in everything around you. At the end of the day, wealth isn't just about money. It's about awareness. The awareness that opportunity often disguises itself as something mundane. The awareness that luck favors those who pay attention. And the awareness that your story could change in a single serendipitous moment. So go ahead, hold that old drawer, dust off that coin jar, and start your search. Because as history has shown, sometimes the path to fortune begins with a single, ordinary coin that turns out to be anything. Imagine checking the loose change in your kitchen drawer or that old coffee can in your garage, only to find a coin that could change your financial destiny. Sounds unbelievable. Well, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why these quarters are so valuable, how to identify one, and how you might be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. Before you brush this off thinking, I probably don't have one, ask yourself, when was the last time you actually looked closely at your coins? Most people don't, and that's exactly why so many treasures go unnoticed. The people who've cashed in on these rare quarters weren't necessarily collectors. They were ordinary folks who decided to look a little closer. That's the difference between someone who dreams of wealth and someone who discovers it in their own hands. The story of the 1988 D-quarter is more than about metal and mint marks. It's a story about rarity, timing, and the incredible power of knowledge. You see, in the late 1980s, the Denver Mint produced millions of quarters. But due to small minting variations, microscopic imperfections invisible to the untrained eye, a few of these coins were struck differently. A subtle shift in the die alignment, a faint doubling on the inscriptions, or a unique blend of metal content transformed a handful of these everyday coins into priceless artifacts. Most quarters from that year are worth, well, 25 cents. But a few, because of these tiny anomalies, have become legendary among collectors. Their scarcity has turned them into status symbols in the numismatic world, symbols of luck, rarity, and mystery now. You might be wondering, how can a coin I've probably seen thousands of times be worth nearly $1 million? The secret lies in a combination of factors: condition, mint error, and demand. The $848,000 quarter wasn't just any 1988 D, it was in pristine, almost untouched condition, what experts call mint state. On top of that, it displayed a rare minting error, a misalignment and doubling that only occurs once in millions of strikes. When collectors and investors caught wind of it, the bidding wars began. It's easy to dismiss coins as small change. But think of this. If a 25-cent coin can command $848,000, what does that say about the overlooked opportunities in your life? Sometimes, the smallest things hold the greatest value if you know where to look. And here's where it gets exciting. You could find one. Yes, you. These rare 1988 D quarters are still circulating, sitting in forgotten jars, old wallets, or tucked away in safety boxes passed down from parents and grandparents. People have found them in pocket change, thrift stores, even in parking meters. The next person could be you, but only if you know what to look for. Let's dive into the details that separate an ordinary quarter from a fortune-bearing one. Start by checking the mint mark under George Washington's neck. The D indicates it was minted in Denver. Next, look closely at the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Under magnification, if you notice a faint doubling of the letters, that's a good sign. Also, check the date 1988. Any sign of doubling or misalignment could be a clue that you're holding something exceptional. Then comes the condition. Coins are graded from poor to mint state 70. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Even a slightly worn 1988 D with a rare minting error could fetch thousands. But a pristine one, preserved almost perfectly, that's where you enter the elite level, the six-figure territory. Now, before you start rummaging through your change jar, let's pause for a second. Isn't it fascinating how something as small as a coin can carry such massive potential? It's almost poetic, the idea that hidden wealth could be sitting quietly, waiting for someone perceptive enough to notice. It's not just about money. It's about mindset. The rare coin market rewards curiosity, attention to detail, and patience, qualities that often lead to wealth in every area of life. And here's a twist, a pattern interrupt, if you will. Imagine explaining to your friends that your early retirement came from a quarter. They'd probably laugh, right? But when that $848,000 hits your bank account, the laughter turns into stunned silence. That's the beauty of hidden value. It's invisible to those who don't believe it exists. Let's talk about market dynamics. The value of rare coins fluctuates like fine art or vintage cars. As demand for rare U.S. coins grows among high-net-worth collectors and investors, prices climb. In the last few years, rare coin auctions have shattered records. The pandemic, global inflation, and rising interest in tangible assets have pushed investors toward collectibles, coins being one of the most stable, historically appreciating categories. According to recent market data, rare U.S. quarters from the 20th century have seen price increases of over 400% in the last decade. The 1988 D Mint Mark quarter sits at the top of that pyramid, with values reported at over $848,000 in top condition. But it's not just about that single coin. It's a signal, a wake-up call, that your small change might not be small at all. So, how do you turn this knowledge into opportunity? The first step, educate yourself. Learn how to recognize mint marks, errors, and grades. The second step, take action. Go through your old coins. Visit coin dealers, attend auctions, or even join online numismatic communities. The third step, get your coin appraised by a professional. Grading service like PCGs or NGC, an official grade can mean the difference between a $50 find and a $500,000 windfall. And if you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true, remember this: the people who discovered these valuable coins thought the same thing. One woman from Texas almost spent her rare 1988 D quarter on a parking meter before realizing the faint doubling on the date. That single coin later sold for over $300,000. She went from feeding a meter to feeding her dreams. That's the power of awareness. Here's the irony. Every day, millions of these coins pass from hand to hand, buying coffees, groceries, and gas, while one rare specimen sits hidden among them, capable of changing someone's life forever. It's like a modern treasure hunt where the prize isn't buried in the ground, but scattered in plain sight. If you think this is only for coin nerds or collectors, think again. Many of today's wealthy collectors started by accident. They stumbled upon one rare coin and never looked back. What started as curiosity became a profitable passion. And that's what this is really about. Transforming curiosity into opportunity. You don't have to be rich to find rare coins, but you can become rich because of them. That's the beauty of this world. The rare coin market isn't driven by chance. It's driven by knowledge and timing. The more you learn, the more prepared you are when opportunity lands in your hands, literally, now. Here's a question to reset your attention. When was the last time you held a coin and really looked at it? Most people handle money every day, but never truly see it. That's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. the ability to look deeper, to notice what others ignore. If you can develop that habit, you'll start spotting hidden value, not just in coins, but everywhere in your life. Here's something most people don't realize. Coins are historical artifacts. Every mark, every strike, every minting variation tells a story of craftsmanship, economy, and human error. The 1988 D quarter story is one of perfection born from imperfection. A tiny minting flaw turned an everyday object into a masterpiece. There's a metaphor there for life itself. Sometimes it's the flaws that make something truly valuable, but let's not lose sight of the tangible. The current market valuation for the most pristine 1988 D quarter stands at $848,000. Experts predict this could climb even higher as more collectors enter the market and fewer pristine examples remain in circulation. Rarity, after all, increases value over time. So, while you're watching this, someone out there could be discovering another one right now, maybe cashing it in at an auction that will break new records. And here's the emotional truth. Every coin tells us that wealth doesn't always come from hard labor alone. Sometimes it comes from awareness, curiosity, and the courage to act when others don't. That's why stories like the 1988 D quarter resonate so deeply. They remind us that fortune can favor the observant now. Picture this. You're holding a coin worn slightly around the edges. The year 1988, glinting under the light. You tilt it, and your eyes catch the subtle doubling of the 8. Your pulse quickens. Could it be? That moment, that realization, is pure adrenaline. It's the thrill of discovery, the rush of possibility. And whether or not that coin turns out to be worth a fortune, you'll never look at spare change the same way again. So, before you go about your day, take a moment. Open that old drawer. Check that jar of coins. Because somewhere out there, a 1988 D mint mark quarter worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even $848,000, it's waiting to be found. And the next headline-breaking discovery could have your name on it. The real question isn't whether these coins exist. They do. The question is whether you'll be the one who finds one. The difference between missed opportunity and life-changing wealth could be just one look away. So take this as your sign. Your reminder that fortune favors the curious. Because sometimes, the path to a wealthy lifestyle doesn't start with $1 million business idea or a risky investment. Sometimes, it starts with a quarter. This isn't some internet rumor or a collector's myth. This is a real story about how a coin minted just a few years ago turned into one of the most valuable modern U.S. coins ever discovered. And by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why it's worth that much, but also how you might already own one yourself. Let's start at the beginning, where most treasure hunts begin with something ordinary. In 2021, the U.S. Mint released a new series of quarters honoring the Crossing the Delaware design, featuring George Washington on one side and a dramatic depiction of him crossing the Delaware River on the other. Millions were minted, circulated across the country, and most people didn't think twice. It was just another quarter. But not all coins are created equal. Some of these 2021 P-Mint mark quarters, those produced at the Philadelphia Mint, had subtle minting errors. Maybe a double die, a strike-through, a die crack, or even a rare off-center strike. These imperfections, invisible to the untrained eye, became golden tickets for collectors. Imagine holding a coin worth more than your car and not even realizing it. Here's where it gets fascinating. When the first 2021 P-era quarter surfaced, few sharp-eyed collectors noticed something strange. Under magnification, the fine details on Washington's hair and the "In God We Trust" inscription appeared doubled. The rim showed unusual stress marks. At first, nobody believed it mattered. But as more examples emerged, coin grading services like PCGS and NGC confirmed the discovery. That's when the market went wild. Collectors began scouring their spare change. Coin rolls from banks, even vending machine returns, looking for that elusive quarter. The story spread through collector forums, TikTok videos, and news headlines. Modern quarter worth 6 figures found in circulation. And then it happened. One of these coins sold for over $300,000 at auction.y. Because rarity, condition, and demand collided at the perfect moment. The coin wasn't just rare, was pristine. It had been professionally graded at a high mint state level, meaning it was nearly flawless, with its unique minting error perfectly preserved. For collectors, that combination is like lightning in a bottle. You might get one chance in a lifetime to find something like that, but here's the emotional truth. Behind the story, most people who handle rare coins never realize what they have. They spend them. They give them as change at gas stations. They disappear back into circulation, their true worth lost forever. That's why you need to know what to look for before we reveal exactly what makes this coin worth $314,000. How to check if you own one. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at your coins? Not just glanced, but examined them. Most people haven't, and that's where opportunity hides in what others overlook. The P mint mark sits just below "In God We Trust," near the right side of Washington's bust. That tiny letter tells you it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, look closer at the details. The surface, the texture, the shine. Any doubling, any small die crack across Washington's hair, or the word "Liberty," could be the difference between 25 cents and a small fortune. It's easy to laugh and say, "Come on, who really finds those?" But here's the funny thing someone does. Every single year, one man from Ohio reportedly found a rare quarter while sorting through loose change in his car's co-folder. Another woman discovered a valuable error coin in a Coinstar machine after someone dumped it by mistake. It's not luck, it's awareness, and that's why this isn't just about coins. It's about perspective. It's about paying attention to the small things that everyone else ignores. Because sometimes, those small things can change your life. Think about it. What would you do if you found a coin worth 6 figures? Would you sell it immediately, or hold on to it, watching its value climb as demand surges. That's another layer to this story. The coin market has exploded in recent years, driven by both serious collectors and everyday investors looking for tangible assets. When traditional markets feel uncertain, people look for hard-value gold, silver, rare collectibles. Coins fit that need perfectly. They're compact, historical, and often carry emotional meaning. But not all coins appreciate equally. Modern rarities like the 2021 P quarter are shaking up the old rules. In the past, you'd expect only centuries-old coins to fetch big prices. Today, even recent mintings are turning into instant treasures. Let's pause here for a quick mental reset. Imagine this. You're at a coffee shop. You hand over $1, get 3 quarters and some change back. One of those quarters looks shiny, maybe newer. You pocket it without a thought. Weeks later, you see a video like this. Ooh. And realize you might have spent $300,000 on a latte. That's not just a joke. That's reality for some people. Now, let's pull back the curtain on what makes this specific coin so special. The 2021 P. Crossing the Delaware quarter became a sensation not only for its errors, but for its perfect storm of timing. The U.S. Mint had just ended the long-running America, the Beautiful series. This was a transitional design, minted for only 1 year before the Washington Crossing Reverse was replaced by the 2022 American Women Quarters program. That brief window makes it inherently limited. Combine that with minting variations and modern collector frenzy, and you've got the recipe for astronomical value. But here's the catch. Condition is everything. A worn or scratched version might still be worth a few $100s. But a pristine, uncirculated, or mint state coin graded above MS-67, that's where the value skyrockets into the hundreds of thousands. That's why collectors send their best finds to professional graders who seal them in tamper-proof slabs and assign them official certification numbers. So yes, even though millions of 2021 quarters exist, only a microscopic fraction are perfect enough for rare enough to be worth life-changing money. Let's talk numbers for a moment. As of today, verified auction results have seen the highest-selling example of this coin reach over $314,000. Others, in slightly lower grades, still command thousands. The market remains hot because collectors are still hunting for the few undiscovered specimens. If you're wondering whether your coin might be valuable, here's what to do. First, check for the P Mint mark. Then, under good light or with a magnifying glass, look for doubling on Washington's profile, especially around the nose, mouth, and lettering. Check for any unusual texture, cracks, or off-center designs. If you find something suspicious, don't clean the coin ever. Cleaning it can destroy thousands of dollars in potential value. Instead, handle it by the edges and store it safely in a protective holder. Then, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. You might be thinking, it's probably nothing. Remember, every great discovery starts with someone who thought the same. And here's where this story takes a powerful turn. Those who've profited from rare coin discoveries often share something deeper in common than luck. They pay attention. They respect history. They understand that value isn't always about what's new, it's about what's meaningful. Think of every coin as a tiny time capsule, carrying the story of when and where it was minted. Each imperfection adds a layer of individuality. In a world obsessed with digital currency and disposable moments, these coins remind us that physical treasures still exist and sometimes they're closer than you think. If that doesn't inspire you to start checking your coins tonight, I don't know what will. Because here's the truth most people ignore. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is often just awareness. The people living wealthy, fulfilled lives aren't necessarily luckier, they're more observant. They take action when opportunity whispers, not just when it shouts. So, let this coin be your wake-up call. Somewhere out there, someone is about to discover the next record-breaking quarter. It could be the 2021p, or it could be another overlooked coin hiding in plain sight. What if that someone is you? Maybe you've got an old jar of change in your kitchen drawer or a dusty box of coins inherited from a relative. Inside, there might be not just money, but freedom. Because when a single quarter can be worth $300,000, it's not just about collecting, it's about possibility as we come full circle. Remember this, wealth isn't only found in banks or investment accounts. Sometimes it's sitting right under your nose, waiting for you to notice. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, or count the change from your morning coffee, take a moment to look closer. That glimmer, that detail, that tiny P mint mark kit might just be your golden ticket. And who knows? The next story about a rare coin selling for millions could start with your discovery. Stay curious. Stay alert. And remember, even in a world where everything moves fast, true fortune favors those who take the time to look closely. Because sometimes, the path to a wealthy life begins with a single quarter.